It's Friday, December 14th, and I'm your host, Paula Hersey. On today's show, we explore Sandy Neck in the winter, discover all the cool vacation activities with Barnstable Recreation, get some book recommendations for reading by the fire, and reveal the names of the Channel 18 turtles. Let's start with some news you can use. The town of Barnstable has chosen a proposal to redevelop the Cape Town Plaza, also known as the Kmart Plaza, on Route 132 in Hyannis. WS Development's proposal for the 26-acre parcel, which is under the control of the Barnstable Municipal Airport, was recommended by an RFP evaluation committee as the best use of the land. The 49-year lease would bring the airport a total of $131 million. The other proposal from Wilder was for $22 million over the life of the lease. Tune in to Channel 18 on Monday for our interview with Airport Manager Katie Service. One of our favorite seasons to visit Sandy Neck is in the winter. Spectacular sunrises and sunsets, the chance sightings of snowy owls and other wildlife makes the crisp, cold air worth it. Layer up and grab your walking stick and camera. If you've never been to Sandy Neck in the winter, this is the year to go. On the phone with me, Natural Resource Officer Sean Cordes. Sandy Neck is beautiful in the winter, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's actually it's a beautiful time of year that not many people think of, or get to experience.
So give us a little kind of primer of what's going on out there in the winter. It's obviously quiet. There's not a whole lot of people camping, I'm sure.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is that if you have, for the off-road vehicle beach, if you have a permit, you still always need one of those to be out there. But we are still open every single day from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. out on the beach. So there are still a lot of opportunities to go out and recreate. We get a lot of folks that go out just hiking around, taking in the nice scenery and the crisp air, and a lot of good wildlife observations that we talked a little bit about last month as well, about what to see out there and what to experience. So there's a lot to do.
Lots to do. We see that Donna Bragg has been posting pictures of lots of deer.
Yeah.
So is the deer season at the neck right now?
What was that? Sorry.
The actual deer season at Sandy Neck right now. People need to be aware that hunters are out there.
Yeah, so we don't have a deer hunt this year. Sandy Neck does a special deer hunt every other year, and this is actually an off season for that. Okay. So we don't have any deer hunters out there. It is important to keep in mind that we do have some other hunting seasons going on. So we get the occasional duck hunter and rabbit hunter out there. So it is something to keep in mind. We certainly recommend wearing the blaze orange when you're out and about and hiking. One thing that's nice is that we do have a sign-in sheet at the gatehouse, so anybody that's out conducting hunting activity on Sandy Neck should have signed into that. So if you stop by the gatehouse, you can check in with us, and we can sort of let you know who's out there and what to expect before you head out on your trip.
So when you're out there on Sandy Neck and there's storms out there, do you close the beach?
Yeah, so this is a question that we've gotten a few times. And it is important to remember to keep in mind that the off-road vehicle beach, as I mentioned before, is open every day, so long as the conditions allow it to. What that means is, we want to give everybody the opportunity to recreate and access parts of the beach. But certainly, especially this time of year when we get some of those big storms, things like nor'easters, we will have to close the beach because the conditions are just too unsafe out there. We do our best to try and inform people when this is going to happen. So we have a couple options that you can always check to find out. We have our Sandy Neck app, and I still encourage everybody to keep downloading that. We have the information on our website about how to get that on your phone, and we'll send out notifications if we have to close the beach for whatever reason. And we also post that information to the website as well. But certainly this time of year, the beach profile changes a lot, and with tides and especially north wind and weather, again, it can cut off parts of the beach, or the water can go all the way up to the toe of the dune. So when it's too dangerous to have vehicles out there, we make sure to close the beach so that everybody can be safe and secure.
What are some tips and perhaps wildlife that folks will actually see out on the beach at this time of year?
Yeah, so we get quite a few things that out there on the beach. Certainly one of the big ones that we've been talking about is the snowy owls. We finally had some of our first snowy owl sightings for the year. So that's a big one. They come down here this time of year, especially the juveniles, and Sandy Neck looks very similar to their tundra habitat up north. So they're out here hanging out through the season and hunting. So people love to come out to check the snowy owls, and as we encourage all the time, we want people to be able to come out and observe these really amazing animals. We just ask that everybody be really respectful of them, maintain distance, and keep in mind that if those animals can see you, or if you force them to take off and move, that you're probably too close. So your best bet is if you got a nice camera, good set of binoculars or a spotting scope to bring those with you as well. A couple other things to keep in mind with the cold weather is certainly, it's a beautiful time to be out there, but again, we always want to ensure everybody's safety. So we encourage everybody to layer up as best as possible. And if you're going to be out for a long period of time, to let somebody know, where you might be and when you could be expected back. We're out most days, in and out at Sandy Neck, so we know when people are out there and when vehicles are left unattended, and we do our best to, see who's out there. But that is a good thing, just for safety this time of year to keep in mind. One of the other things, too, that I did want to reiterate and mention, because I know there's been some segments on it, is sea turtle stranding. So, again, if anybody's out hiking on Sandy Neck, especially the front beach, a lot of these north winds are bringing in these cold-stunned sea turtles that get stranded this time of year. And we always rely on the public's help for these sort of occasions. It's a big beach, and there's, a lot to cover. So if you find a sea turtle, some of the tips that you can do to help us would be to actually pull that animal up above the high tide line. You can cover it in seaweed and stuff in the rack line nearby to sort of help insulate it, and then put a marker, whether it's storm debris or a stick or drawing an arrow in the sand, to help us find that location, and then give the Sandy Neck Gatehouse a phone call, and we can go out there and respond with a vehicle and get that animal safely triaged and brought to the proper facility for rehab in the future.
Yes, we're mighty grateful for all the ones that had been saved a couple of weeks ago. The segment was really great, and had some, again, those tips to make sure that people know what to do if they encounter one of those sea turtles.
Definitely.
Excellent. Any last words for folks coming out to the Neck for the winter?
That's about it. I want to encourage everybody to get the opportunity to come out to Sandy Neck for the winter, because there's a lot of different changes season to season, and it's just as beautiful this time of year as it is in the summer. A lot of good wildlife opportunities, plenty of walking and hiking, recreational activities. But again, the key there would just be to, have a plan, be safe, and certainly download that app, check our website, just make sure if you're going on the off-road vehicle corridor that we are open and that you can access it out there.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Sean.
All right. Thank you very much.
Bye. The Christmas vacation week can be tough on working families. The influx of relatives and the dilemma on what to do with the kids. Barnstable Recreation has just the answer that will make everyone merry. Skating, movies, open gym, game room, something for everyone. What are you going to do with your children on vacation week? It's coming up sooner than you think. With me today, right here at the HYCC, lots of programs to be had. We're going to start off with Mickey Davies. You've got a wonderful, not after school, but a vacation program.
We do. We have a vacation program running from December 26th, the day after Christmas, right until Monday, December 31st. So we're going to do 4 days with the kids. We have lots of activities planned. We'll be skating here at the HYCC as well as using the game room. We'll be out bowling, into the arcade. We'll be going to the movies. Hopefully something very festive will be out at the time. And we're also going to be doing some cooking, some arts and crafts, visiting our open gym, which is going to take place at BIS during that time in the afternoon. So we have lots of great fun things planned. And we still have room. I know that lots of people during the holidays don't really have time to sign up for winter programming, so I do want to let you know that we do have about 8 spots left in our vacation program. We use our town vehicles. We take the kids all over the place. So we have opportunity to really get them out to where they'd like to be.
That's fantastic. And what's the snack?
Snacks for the day. So we have a lot of different snacks there. So I'm going shopping today, actually. So we have, you know, your regular pretzel sticks and things like that. But we do some cooking activities where they'll be making Rice Krispie treats and decorating those. So they use all different types of things for snacks, yeah.
Well, Channel 18 might have to come back because, you know, Rice Krispies treats are just the
I
best,
know.
right, John?
Absolutely.
So, John, you've got some information, too. HYCC is going to be hopping for this vacation week.
Absolutely. So, like Mickey said just a moment ago, she's got a great program for parents that need like all-day care. Through the rec department and at HYCC, we have some pop-in stuff where, you know, if you just need a couple hours for things to do, you know, we have open gym at BIS through the rec department with Melanie Mimo, and that's 12 to 4. It's $4 per student if they want to participate, and it's the 26th, 27th, and 28th. Right after the holidays. And then here at the HYCC, there's random pop-in times for open gym time and game room time, you know, for those families that are looking for 2, 3, 4 hours of time. If they're coming to the open gym at the youth center, they need to have the membership, which is $20 per year for residents and $40 for non-residents. And if they don't have a membership, if they have like grandchildren visiting from another location, it's $5 per day to visit here at the youth center to use the gym. So it's more of the quick pop-in stuff. If they want to play some basketball, volleyball, game room type activities, there's some things to do. And then also throughout the week of the vacation, there's public skating. During the week, I know after the holidays it's 2 to 4, and then other days it varies. So if you want to come in for a quick 2-hour skate, you know, there's great public skating to be had.
Right, and it's really fun because a lot of kids get skates for Christmas, so.
Yeah, absolutely. It's you know breaking out the new gifts and you know using them, whether it's a new volleyball, basketball, or new hockey skates or figure skates. It'd be a great time to put them to use. Usually we are very busy during that time, so I do suggest that you know if you're coming to do a public skate, to get here a little bit early to make sure you buy your passes to skate and then get your skates on. So as soon as 2 o'clock hits, you know you're on the ice ready to go.
Right. And how can people find the schedule for these open skates and open gyms?
We have some schedules online, so on our website, and we also have them here available at the HYCC. I also wanted to say that the December vacation program does not take place here at the HYCC. That takes place at our Centerville Recreation Building on Main Street in Centerville, and will run from 8:30 to 4 for the kids, so really an all-day thing.
An all-day thing, and that is in Centerville, in the Centerville Recreation, the community building there. Excellent. All right. Anything else you want to add, John?
No, just all our stuff is available, like, you know, in our winter brochure, online, or here at the youth centers, and they can always call us. You know, we'd love to get some phone calls, but more than happy to see lots of kids and families around at our programs during the vacation time.
Excellent. So there is things for those vacation hours or maybe vacation days if you need the whole day. Come to the HYCC, check it out online at thetownofbarnstable.us. Thank you. A nice fire, a cup of tea or hot chocolate, and a good book is the antidote to keeping holiday stress at bay. We have a plethora of book recommendations for every genre. Corey, recommended reads for those doldrum days of the winter, for snowstorms that are sure to come. There's something here on the table for everyone.
Yes, there is. So we're going to start with a couple of like my genre favorites, depending on where you fall in line with, like, do you like science fiction? Do you like fantasy? And then we'll get to the more general stuff that's for everybody.
Okay.
So first we got Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay. He's a local writer. He lives outside of Boston somewhere. He did a talk here at the library a while ago. And this is a family story. It's possibly a possession story. It's horror, I should say that. It's definitely horror. It's possibly a story about demon possession, or it's a story about a dysfunctional family with a child with mental illnesses that's undiagnosed and like how to deal with that. In the story, there's a family and one of the daughters is acting out and she's the possibly possessed one. That's not a spoiler. And a group from a reality TV show shows up and wants to film them. So it's all about this family being filmed for this as they kind of unravel. So awesome one if you like spooky stuff.
Okay.
Next up, we got Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. This was just made into a movie with Natalie Portman in it. Awesome movie, very different from the book. but it's got the same setting, and the setting's like the coolest part of it, where it's this, the basic premise is there's a section of Florida where it's been kind of cordoned off by this shimmering barrier, is what they say. And everything on the inside of that barrier has reverted to nature. So there are no people there anymore. All the buildings are overcome with vines, and like there's kind of like mutant growth going on, where it's like flowers that are too beautiful or deer that are like too crazy looking. And it's about a group of 4 female scientists who go in and try to figure out what's going on. And they're like the 17th expedition into this shimmering barrier, and none of them have come back. So we learn about what happens in there in this guy. Great book. Next we got What Should Be Wild by Julia Fine. So this is a contemporary fairy tale. It's about a woman who, I mean, you track her from birth to when she's about 25. And everything she touches dies. And then when she touches it again, it comes back to life. So the story starts off with her father studying her, trying to figure out, like, what's going on with my daughter? Because that's an unfortunate circumstance. And her mother dies in childbirth because whatever she touches dies. So it starts off on that note, if you want a nice, shimmery, uplifting beginning. But there's a ton of humor in it. It's really funny, and the humor's like some good dark fairy tale humor, which if that appeals to you, it's a really good option. But you eventually track the daughter as she goes through her life, and she's kind of sequestered from society because she can't touch things or else they will die. And she doesn't want to live that kind of life anymore, so she wants to go out into the wider world. She's very trusting. She trusts some people that she might not want to trust. She trusts some people that she should trust, and there's a bunch of adventures that ensue. So that's a good one right there. So we got The Mere Wife by Maria Devana Headley. This is a retelling of Beowulf in contemporary times. It's about this one's cool. And it's very lyrical, it's very poetic. And some of the lines in here are just like, oh my God, that was a crazy sentence. Like, that is very well written. It's about a ex-military, a woman who was in the military. There was a bunch of, in the Middle East. She basically gets held hostage and eventually disappears from the eye of the government, and eventually ends up back home in America in suburbia, pregnant with a child that she doesn't really know anything about. It's a retelling of Grendel and Grendel's mother. She's supposed to be Grendel's mother. Her son is supposed to be Grendel. And they live on a mountain in an abandoned train station, which is like some of the craziest imagery you'll see. And the mountain looks down on a planned community of like socialites, and it kind of contrasts the impoverished ex-military mother with these absolutely loaded socialites. And as you know, as far as like Grendel goes with Harrod Hall, shenanigans ensue. Yes, mythic shenanigans.
Excellent. The insin.
Yeah. So now we're getting more into just your straightforward literary realist novels, which are great hits with everyone. The Incendiaries by R.O. Kwon. This one's a fun read as far as like, I'm a big fan of the short novel, and this has been like the year of the short novel. There's been tons of them that have come out, like this one, the Third Hotel, Convenience Store Woman, and people love them because like you could sit down with this and read it in the course of a day. It could be like a 5-hour read if you really want to. This is a story of 3 main characters. There's an older man, a college-age guy, and a college-age woman. Essentially, the older guy is running a religious cult, and from afar, it doesn't really seem like it's that big of a deal, but when you really get into it, you're like, most cults are not the ideal place to be. And the 2 younger characters, one is kind of enticed into this cult, and she sees a lot of like positive sides to it, and is kind of angry about how certain things are going in the world at that moment. So it's kind of like a social activism or political activism movement that's going on. And the younger male is definitely not interested in it and sees from afar like this is kind of a bad idea. So they're in a relationship, but then this stuff starts happening and it complicates things. And then things get really out of hand really fast. And R.O. Kwon does a really great job with short sentences. She creates these like very precise lyrical sentences. And some of the chapters are like a single paragraph. I'm going to see if I can find one for you. Haha, there we go. So some of the chapters are a single paragraph, and it'll look like that. And there's a part of me that feels like really great where I'm like, look at this tiny, tiny chapter. I love it. And then I'm done it, I keep moving. Great for speed reading.
Excellent. All right. 2 more left.
Yes, these are 2 of my favorites. So we got The Ensemble by Aja Gabel. It's about a string quartet that are like some of the most talented in America. They essentially come together at a music institution, and it talks all about how they came together, the challenges of being in the classical musical world and being competitive with other ensembles, because apparently there's like tons of fellowships and awards you can get, and everyone's constantly fighting to be the best in their field. So it's a really cool look into contemporary music scenes. It's a really cool look at studying classical music. There's a lot going on between the different characters, whether it's romantic relationships, platonic relationships, romantic relationships outside of the group. And there's like a ton of tension that's built through the characters. Like, it's a very strong character study. And I'm just really into the idea of learning about like what classical musicians do and how they perform and how they grow as a group. And it's a world like I've never seen before. Like, I've got no way of checking that out. And this is a really cool look into that. So
Great.
that's
Excellent.
a fun one.
All right.
Finally,
The last one, The Mars Room.
which might be the darkest one on here. So The Mars Room by Rachel Kushner. This one's been up for like every award this year. It was up for a Man Booker. I think it was up for a National Book Critics Circle. Some people pitch it as being like a more literary version of Orange is the New Black. It's about Rami Hall, who I think is supposed to be depicted here. She's a woman who gets imprisoned for killing her stalker, but the court didn't really see it that way. It's like it was very clearly self-defense, and I'm not giving anything away. This is what you learn in the first like chapter. And it kind of follows her through incarceration in the prison system, and you get to meet all these other inmates and like why they're there and kind of some of the issues that surround that subject and like some of the sad truths of like 15-year-olds getting arrested and how they can't get out of the system because they can't afford a lawyer. And it's a real strong look into that. But she also meets a teacher in the prison system who's teaching creative writing, and it kind of shows the way that you can kind of get out of your situation through creative means. So it's a cool analysis between their relationships, but it's also like insanely beautifully written. It's really heartbreaking. And if you're looking for like one of those dark literary like uber novels, this would be a good go-to. Like, I can't say enough about it. So
That's fantastic. So
Yeah.
there's plenty of books for just about everybody on the list, and you don't have to buy them. You can come here to the
Yeah.
library, check them out. How long is your checkout process?
So it's 14 days, so 2 weeks. As long as it doesn't have a hold on it, though, you can renew it. And most of these guys that I've showed you today are, they're relatively new, but they're not new enough, so they have like 300 holds. So more likely than not, you can renew it.
Excellent.
So, and one other thing I'd like to say, though, is part of my job is what's called reader's advisory. So if you have an idea of like, I want a book set in early 1900s about Arctic exploration, and I want like a mystery that's kind of a whodunit. You can throw all these different keys at me, or keywords at me, and I will ideally match a book for you. And so that's one of like the big things, or big parts of my job, and it's one of the things I enjoy most. So if you're looking for something obscure, and if you're like, I want to learn about beekeeping in Scotland in the 1700s, I don't know if that actually occurred there at that time, but I can try to find a book that relates to it. So
That's fantastic.
all the options.
Thanks so much, Corey.
You're very welcome, Paula.
Well, it's official. You, our viewers, have chosen the names for the Studio Turtles. We would like to thank all of our Facebook friends who submitted names. Some of the entries included Milway, Scudder, Baxter, Mercy, Otis, and Warren. The winning names, though, by poll are Winkin', Blinkin', and Nod. comments, suggestions, accolades? Connect with us on Facebook and Instagram, email us, or send us an old-fashioned note by carrier pigeon. Channel 18 works for you. I'm Paula Hersey, and thank you for watching Barnstable Today.